So let's look at variables in JavaScript in a bit more detail. So let's focus on variables, especially the different types of variables in JavaScript. These are the two commands, if you like, of JavaScript we're going to look at. So JavaScript has different types of variable or data, and these are the three basic types: number, string, and boolean. And there's other types as well, such as object, which we're not going to look at in this presentation. So number, first of all, JavaScript has only got one type of number data type variable. Some other languages have an integer type and also a floating point type. Floating point means a number with a decimal place. They have two, but JavaScript just has one type of number. You can use a decimal place or not use a decimal place. As far as JavaScript is concerned, it's the same type of number. You can also use scientific notation. So this is 1, 2, 3 to the power of 5. That gives you this number here. And we can have 1, 2, 3 to the power of minus 5. That gives you this number here. Those are all okay. Those are all types of number variable in JavaScript. Second type, string. String simply means text in the world of computers. In JavaScript, you can use a double speech mark like this, or you can use single speech mark like this. Both are okay as long as you use the same type to finish it that you started with. So here, for example, we have a double speech mark, and we start it, and then we finish with a double speech mark. That's great, everything looks good. That means we can use the other type of speech mark in the middle. Okay, double speech mark on the outside, so you can use the single speech mark inside it, no problem at all. Now the third type we're looking at is boolean. So boolean is basically true or false. It's not text, it's the concept, the idea of true or false. So here's a couple of variables. One has true, one has false. Those are both boolean variables. Don't think that this is the same as text. So this second variable here has the letters TRUE stored in it. That is text, that is a string. And this one has the boolean idea of true stored in it, totally different, and that is a boolean variable. All right, now in JavaScript, there's one interesting feature. Maybe you start putting something in a variable like this. This is a string, text goes in a variable. And then a little bit later, you put a totally different type of data in the variable, like 98, that's a number. Number goes in the same variable. All right, that is totally okay in JavaScript. Anytime you want to, you can put a new value in, and it could be a totally different type of data. JavaScript is totally happy with that. Now, if you want to, possibly might be useful, there's a command type of. That command can be used to check the type of a variable. So here's an example, and we're checking the text John. John, with speech marks, is type string, which is correct. That message here comes from the type of variable. We'll see the code in a minute. Here, a number, 3.14, is type number. Okay, any number with or without decimal place is stored in a number variable in JavaScript. Here, false is type boolean in JavaScript. Here's the code which created that. It's quite straightforward. Alert brings up the little window, and then we build all of that text and we show it in the window. We use /n/n simply to do a little gap. /n here means go to the next line. So this goes down to the next line twice because there's two /n's. But the main thing we're focused on is type of. So we say, okay, John is type, and then we run the actual function, and then it tells us the type of John, which is text. Up comes the message string, okay, message string. Second one, okay, 3.14, up comes the answer, and the answer is number, okay, and then here, what's the type of false? And there's no speech marks here, because that is false, the Boolean message false, and that is Boolean, okay. So might be useful, possibly in some situation, checking what type of data you're using. Now, very common that we do things with variables. We we change the values in them in some certain ways. So for example here, we take whatever number is stored in that, and then we add 1 to it, and then we put it back in the same place. So we're kind of counting, okay? If that had 10 in it, we take 10, we add 1, put it back, now it has 11. So it's a kind of counting idea. That's some typical JavaScript code, and we could type it quicker like this, count plus plus. It does exactly the same thing. Whatever's in that variable, we add 1 to it. Okay, what about we take a variable and then we subtract 1 and put it back in the same place? No problem, subtract. We could type that quicker as well. Count minus minus. That will do exactly the same thing. Right, now, does it have to be plus 1 and minus 1? Well, here's another example where we do plus 10. Take the number in there, plus 10, put it back in the same place. We could type that quicker in JavaScript like this. Count plus equals 10. All right, what about if it's text? Okay, this has got to be some text, and we're adding some more text. This is a variable which stores text. Let's add some more text. When you have text and text like this, it will glue the text together. Okay, this is different from numbers. If it's number and number, then it will add them together. If it's text and text, it will glue them together side by side. This is text, and put it back in the same place. Again, we could type that quicker. Text plus equals, and then the extra piece of text you want to add on the end. All right, so we could do minus, plus, divide by, multiply, all of these typical things that you do with numbers. We can do them with variables, and we can do them long version, and we could do them quicker typing version. So for example, let's say pigs is pigs times 5. We could type that quicker. Pigs times equals 5. Okay, same thing. Cakes is cakes divided by students. Okay, cakes divide equals students. Quicker ways to type things, which saves you time. Now, another thing you might do is convert from one type to another. So there's a few functions, and very briefly, we've got parseInt. Parse is a computer word which means interpret, analyze, and get the result. So whatever you put in the brackets, it'll analyze them and it will convert it to an integer. And then the result, you could put it in a variable if you like. Okay, x equals parseInt, and then whatever you put in the brackets. There's also parsefloat, same idea. Put something in the brackets, it will convert it to a float, which means a number with a decimal place, and then you could put it in a variable. String, same idea. You could put a number in here, and it will convert it to text, and you could put it in a variable and start manipulating it. So there's a few commands for converting from one type to another. All right, that's the end of our discussion of variables in JavaScript.